That's great that you got to meet him when he first came over and you became good friends with him and stuff. That was really cool.
Oh yeah, he was basically because of his lack of he spoke broken English.
Yeah.
But because he didn't speak let's say English fluently, he would often he'd take things wrong. You know, he thought people would be laughing at him when they weren't. And
Yeah.
it was a completely different Arnold in the early days, and I watched him evolve, and without realizing it, Arnold actually used a psychological technique they call modeling. What he did was make believe he was something that he wasn't. In other words, he started to act very confident and self-assured, you know, and this is what you see in some of those, like Pumping Iron, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and he actually took on the persona he was playing. In other words, he became the person he was trying to be. In other words, he actually became the super confident, you know, I saw it right in front of me because, like I say, Arnold, who was here in the first 2 years in the United States, was a completely different guy than you see today. Completely different.
Wow.
I mean, you know, it's not that he wasn't friendly or funny or anything like that. He just wasn't as sure as himself. Let's put it that way.
Wow, that's surprising to hear because when you think of Arnold, you always think of him as someone very confident and very sure of himself, you know?
No, it took him a couple of years to develop that, but, you know,
Wow.
he did a great job. You know, very few people that match his self-confidence and self-belief. That's
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that's a large key to his success.
Yeah, yeah. He's always been one of the most amazing success stories to me, you know, when I look at his life and how he's been able to accomplish stuff and how he's learned things, like you said, how he learned to get better, you know, as he went along.
Well, Arnold did also a smart thing, is he was open to learning from people that knew more than him. In other words, he wasn't arrogant. In other words, somebody, like, for example, when he started making enough money to invest, he had some friends that knew a lot about real estate, and he kind of listened to them, and he, you know, they instructed him how to, for example, purchase apartment buildings and this and that, and he kind of picked up on it. And of course, you know, by the time he went into acting, he was also already a multimillionaire from his real estate holdings.
Yeah, yeah.
He used to talk to Joe Weider about buying art because Joe was into buying art, and Arnold listened to that. And then somebody said you should go to business school. So he did this correspondence course. Although it says in his biography, I get a laugh at it, that he got a business degree from the University of Wisconsin. In fact, he never set foot on the campus. He was at correspondence school.
Okay.
You know, where, you know, he did get a business degree. So it's real. It's a real school, but it was like it was kind of a correspondent rather than actually attending classes.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? But he did attend classes at Santa Monica College, I remember, where he learned a lot of English, and he became very fluent in English. And so Arnold that's a good quality he has, where he has an open mind, he's willing to learn, and he uses what he learns to his advantage. People should take a lesson from that.
Yeah.
That's a big key to his success.
Yeah.
And also, he was impossible to discourage. I mean, once he set a goal, nothing on earth would stop him from attaining it. Mm-hmm. I remember having a conversation with the guy where he mentioned that, well, actually, it was right around the same time. It was 1968. We were walking down Ventura Boulevard after a workout at Vince's. And Arnold said to me, he said, you know, Jerry, he says, you know how when people talk about muscles, they say things like muscles like Steve Reeves. Of course, Steve Reeves was the big superstar at the time from the Hercules movies, you know, the most famous bodybuilder.
Right. He
says, one day, mark my words, one day the expression will be muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It must became true, right?
Yeah, sure.
But his next sentence really kind of threw me. He says, my plans include winning the Miss Universe 6 times, then winning the Mr. Olympia at least 6 times, and after my bodybuilding is over, I'm going to go into movies. This is 1968.
Yeah.
And I'm going to become a big star just like Steve Reeves. That's when I said the following to him. I said, Arnold, and I put my hand on his shoulder. I said, Arnold, I said, I consider you a friend, so please don't take this wrong. I said, but the way the acting industry here is, I mean, the studio system, I said, a big guy like you with your accent, I said, I don't think you could ever become a movie star. I said, you could be like, you know, leg breakers in the background.
Right.
You could play guys that don't have any lines.
Right.
I said, I don't really, I wouldn't really. He says, that's okay. We'll see. I mean, honestly, could not have foreseen that he'd become this like huge superstar.
Right.
He did it, and I use that anecdote to show that this guy could not be discouraged.
Yeah.
Because if it was reversed and somebody said this to me, I'd probably think about it. I'd say, gee, maybe I'd be wasting my time, and I would think about it. But Arnold, his mindset, I mean, I've never met a guy, let me put it this way, in my whole life who, once he set a goal, could not be deterred. You could throw anything at him, So, I mean, I remember when I was thinking of going to medical school. I mean, I read a bunch of things and people told me how hard it was to get in and this and that. And, and it discouraged me and I gave it up. You see, Arnold would have said, screw that. I'm going to try it anyway.
Yeah.
So he had that over me. I mean, I was unfortunately influenced. Not so much today, but back then when I was younger, I was. But even as a young man, nothing could deter Arnold. Nothing. I mean, the guy was incredible in that sense.
Wow.
Never anybody like that.
Bodybuilding Heroes and Legends Volume 1 by John Hansen is the book that celebrates the golden age of bodybuilding. This was the era in which legends such as Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sergio Oliva, Frank Zane, Robbie Robinson, Cal Scalak, and Mike Menser battled it out on stage for the biggest titles in bodybuilding. Read about some of the most exciting competitions that took place in the 1970s, including the Oliva-Schwarzenegger battles, Zane's first Olympia victory, and Scalak's controversial Mr. Olympia appearance, and much more. Filled with inspiring images of some of the greatest bodybuilders in the history of the sport, Bodybuilding Heroes and Legends Volume 1 is now available on Amazon.com or email John directly at naturalolympia@gmail.com.